the Thamūd, giants of the desert, masters of stone, and slaves to their arrogance. O my people, worship Allah. You have no God but Him. This is the She-Camel of Allah, a sign for you. They asked for a miracle. Allah sent them a she-camel. She drank from their springs, and they plotted her death. This is the story of Thamūd, a tale carved into mountains and erased by a scream. After the destruction of Ad, the winds of time carried forward a new people, Thamūd, descendants of Thamud ibn Abir ibn Iram, ibn Sam ibn Nuh. They settled north of Ad's lands in a region now known as Al-Hijr, or Mada'in Salih, a place still standing today with its mysterious carved tombs and dwellings etched into sandstone cliffs. These were not ordinary people. They were tall, strong, brilliant engineers. They learned from the downfall of their ancestors, but not the lesson Allah intended. And remember when He made you successors after Ad and settled you in the land, taking for yourselves palaces from its plains and carving out homes from the mountains. So remember the favors of Allah and do not go about spreading corruption. Surah Al-A'raf, verse 74. The Thamud mastered their terrain. They carved homes, temples, and even water channels into solid rock. Their architecture rivaled that of any ancient civilization. Travelers, even today, stand in awe of the rose-red cliffs of Mada'in Salih, asking, "Who carved this? And why did they vanish?" They weren't just architects of stone. They were physically powerful, like their ancestors the Ad. Some traditions describe them as towering figures, able to chisel stone with bare hands and move boulders with ease. They lived in wealth and comfort, flourishing gardens, advanced irrigation, fertile land in the desert. But they forgot gratitude, and in time, forgot Allah. The Thamud turned away from the pure monotheism taught by their forefathers. They filled their cities with idols. They mocked the idea of one unseen creator. They worshipped what their hands had carved, not the one who created hands. Despite their intellect and strength, they became spiritually hollow. Pride blinded them. Excess corrupted them. And so Allah sent them a warner. Not a stranger, not a foreigner, but one of their own. From among the Thamud themselves, Allah raised a man, Salih, alayhi salam. He was known for his intelligence, his eloquence, and his righteousness. They respected him. Some even hoped he would one day lead them. But when he came with revelation, when he reminded them of the oneness of Allah, the temporality of this world, and the danger of arrogance, they turned on him. And to Thamud, we sent their brother Salih. He said, "O my people, worship Allah. You have no God but Him. He created you from the earth and settled you therein, so seek His forgiveness and then turn to Him in repentance." Surah Hud, verse 61. Yet they scoffed. "Have we not raised you as one of our own? Are you now turning against our gods? You want us to abandon what our fathers worshipped?" He wasn't just rejected. He was mocked. They accused him of lying. Some accused him of magic, others of madness. But Salih stood firm. His message was not his own. He wasn't seeking power or riches. He only sought to save them from themselves. "I am a trustworthy messenger to you, so fear Allah and obey me, and I do not ask you for any reward. My reward is only from the Lord of the worlds. Surat al-Shu'ara, verse 143 to 145. A tribal elder shouted across the marketplace, "O Salih, if your God is so mighty, let him show us a sign." Laughter erupted, but Salih remained silent. Until one day, the demand came with seriousness. "Bring us a miracle, something that proves your God exists. Let a camel, yes, a she-camel, come out of this rock." And he pointed to a large boulder, cold and lifeless. The demand was specific, detailed, meant as mockery. But Salih accepted their challenge on one condition. "If Allah sends you this sign, will you believe?" They agreed. The people gathered. They waited. And before their very eyes, the boulder split open, and from it emerged a living, breathing, majestic she-camel, tall, elegant, radiating a light unlike anything seen before. The camel was no ordinary beast. She drank half of the town's water each day as revealed in the Qur'an. "And tell them that the water is to be shared between them, each drinking turn by turn." Surat al-Qamar, verse 28. She was peaceful. She caused no harm. She grazed freely. She was a sign from Allah, a living proof. This is the She-Camel of Allah as a sign for you. So leave her to eat in Allah's land, and do not touch her with harm, or a swift punishment will seize you. Surat Hud, verse 64. Some were struck with awe. A few began to believe, but most grew restless. How could a camel drink half their water? How could a beast be more honored than their gods? Their pride turned to hatred, their hatred to plotting. A silent fear settled in the hearts of those who disbelieved, not of Allah, but of losing control. They began whispering in secret, "She's disrupting our way of life. She's taking from our wells. If we don't act now, more will believe in Salih. Then let us kill her." And so, from divine mercy, they plotted murder. The camel was a sign, but they saw it as a threat. And soon, the scream of the rocks would be answered by the scream of the sky. There are crimes so grave that they do not just stain the earth, they awaken the wrath of the heavens. The murder of the she-camel was one of them. The people of Thamud had been warned. Again and again, Salih, alayhi salam, pleaded with them, "Do not touch her with harm, lest you be seized by a terrible punishment." Surat Hud, verse 64. But they refused to listen. One night, under the cover of darkness, 9 of their most wicked men, described in the Qur'an as plotters of corruption, gathered. And there were in the city 9 men who made mischief in the land and did not reform. Surat al-Naml, verse 48. They made an oath. They would strike swiftly. They would silence the sign. And then they would kill Salih himself. These were not simple men. They were leaders, influencers, voices of their generation. They believed their plot would preserve the power of their tribe, but they were digging the grave of a nation. It happened at dawn. The she-camel had returned from grazing. She knelt peacefully near a well, and then a blade, a cry, blood on the sand. The earth seemed to freeze. The animals fled. and those who witnessed the strike felt something shift in the air. The Quran records it plainly, but they hamstrung her and became regretful. Surat al-Shu'ara 26:157. So they killed her and then said, "Bring us what you threaten us with, if you are truly of the messengers." Surat al-A'raf, verse 77. Salih, alayhi salam, rushed to the site, tears in his eyes. He looked at the slain creature and then at his people. "You have killed the sign of your Lord. You have disobeyed the command. Enjoy yourselves for 3 more days." And then, destruction. The people laughed. 3 days. We will build more homes. We will dance harder. But deep inside, they were afraid. Day 1, their faces darkened. Some said it was the dust. Others remained silent. Day 2, their eyes turned hollow. The skies grew still. The wind refused to move. Day 3, their hearts tightened. A deep rumble echoed across the valley. Some tried to flee. Some gathered their belongings, but it was too late. Then came al-Sayha, the scream, not of men, not of beasts, but of the angelic realm itself. So the earthquake seized them, and they lay lifeless in their homes. Surat al-A'raf, verse 78. So the shriek overtook them, and they became like dry twigs used by a fence builder. Surat al-Qamar, verse 31. It wasn't just a sound. It was a force that tore through bone and soul. It shattered stone. It silenced every breath. The mighty people who carved homes into mountains now lay lifeless within them. When the dust settled, there was nothing. No laughter, no footsteps, only empty homes, echoes, and regret etched into stone. So we saved Salih and those who believed with him by mercy from us and from the disgrace of that day. Surat Hud, verse 66. Salih left, his heart heavy. He looked back once and said, "O my people, I delivered to you the message of my Lord and advised you, but you do not love those who give advice." Surat al-A'raf, verse 79. And so the mountains weep in silence. They witnessed greatness, and pride, a miracle, and murder, a warning, ignored. But the story is not over, because that she-camel was not just a sign of the past. She is a sign of the future too. Not every story dies with the past. Some are paused, suspended in time, waiting for the final act. And the story of the she-camel is not yet complete, because her bloodline will return. Yes, the miracle that was once slain in the valley of Al-Hijr will be seen again, but not as a warning this time, as a terrifying sign, a sign that the hour is near. Imam al-Tabaran and other early sources have preserved rare narrations from the early Salaf and scholars of tafsir, indicating that the she-camel of Salih, alayhi salam, had a young offspring, and that this offspring was taken away by Allah's command, hidden, preserved, for a time known only to him. It is said that towards the end of time, before the day of resurrection, this offspring will reappear among the people as one of the minor signs of the hour, and the reaction of mankind will mirror the past, a young man will see the camel in the desert and say, "Is this not a fable from ancient books?" An old scholar will reply, "That is the daughter of a miracle. Do not touch her." But mankind will not listen. They will strike her down again. And then, as in the time of Salih, the world will be warned 3 days, and then the earth will break and the sky will tear. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, mentioned many signs of the hour, including the return of past nations' punishments, the repetition of their crimes, the rise of arrogance, mockery of signs, and hostility to miracles. The return of the she-camel's offspring fits within this divine pattern. Just as Jesus, عليه السلام, will return, just as the sun will rise from the west, just as Gog and Magog will re-emerge, so too the past will physically return to confront those who never learned. This isn't just about an animal. This is about mercy rejected, returning again, about a sign of truth, facing another generation, and once again, being slaughtered. Just like then, because human nature repeats. Unless the heart changes, history is just a cycle of arrogance and regret. The valley of Thamud is not far. You can visit it. You can see the stone homes, the carved tombs, still standing, still warning. And the question stands, if the she-camel came again, would we honor her or would we strike her down? Again, the Quran does not preserve stories for entertainment. It is not mythology. It is a mirror, a warning, a final call. And as we approach the final hour, when the skies split and the earth shakes and graves are torn open, the she-camel's cry may echo once more, and the scream that once silenced Thamud will become the scream that silences the world. The Quran does not preserve the names of every nation, but Thamud is remembered again and again and again. They were mighty, but might is not salvation. Strength is not guidance. Technology is not faith. Civilization is not eternal. They carved homes that still stand today, but their souls are gone. The message of Thamud is not about camels. It's not about architecture. It's about what happens when man worships himself, when he bows to his own ego, when he silences the messengers, when he sees a sign and destroys it. Because the real idol isn't stone. It's pride, and pride is the disease of every destroyed nation. Indeed, he does not like the proud. Surat Al-Nahl, verse 23. We too live in homes carved from stone and steel. We too worship what our hands have made, phones, brands, reputations. We too turn away from messengers of truth, some mocked, some imprisoned, some ignored. We too silence the voice of the she-camel within us. That soft reminder to submit, to be humble, to obey. And the scream of punishment? It may not have come yet, but the silence before it is already here. A boy today asked his grandfather, "Why are these ruins called Mada'in Salih?" The grandfather replied, "Because a man once came here with truth, and they rejected him." What happened? They killed a miracle. And now? The grandfather looked to the sky. Now, the world prepares to do it again. Indeed, in that is a sign. But most of them were not to be believers. Surat Al-Shu'ara, verse 158. So fear Allah and obey me. Surat Al-Shu'ara, verse 150. The call of Salih still echoes, not from mountains, but from the Quran, from the soul, from the wind that passes through ruined cities. And when the hour comes, and the earth testifies, and the offspring of the she-camel returns, will we finally listen, O soul? If you find yourself admiring Thamud, their strength, their architecture, their glory, then remember their silence, their grave, and their scream. Do not be carved in stone, be written in light. Submit before the rocks speak again,